Okay, now Jim, let's just chill up here and have a good time. I know there's a lot of questions that are going to be coming. And I'm going to tell you something really funny, okay? Please take this the right way, but Jim already said I could joke about it. So it was probably, what was it, Thursday or so? Whatever day I called you. I called Jim on the phone, and Lindsay gave me his number. And I'm like, oh yeah, you have his number? And she didn't make a big deal out of it. She made it sound like it was no big thing. So obviously she knew about this. And she gives it to me, and she's like, I'm not going to say your whole number. I have it memorized. Is that kind of weird?
That's good. That's why we picked it.
So, but he tells me his whole number. I won't tell you the area code and all that. But the first three numbers were, and I'm typing this on my phone. I'm like, oh, okay, there's the number. You know, dun dun dun, 666. And I'm like,
not everybody's laughing.
I know. That's what happens. Am I allowed to dial that? Okay.
Did it burn when you touched the?
That's right. Yeah. Well, hey, the reason that we, I got one question I want to ask you. Hold on. I know you were excited. So, I really had a couple things I wanted to ask just to get started, because I think there's a lot of people here who obviously won't know you. I love the fact that you were on the Oprah show in 1988. Is that right?
Something like that, yeah.
I think that is
87 maybe.
I think it's so cool that I am on the stage with someone who was on the Oprah
please.
show. I want everyone to just know that.
No, it's...
Can I touch you?
Yeah.
It's like, okay. It's like
you don't know what the topic of the show was. No.
Okay.
You might take that back, yeah.
Real quickly, please explain to everybody what CFI does, Center for Inquiry, you know, and what you do with, you know, all day and all week and what it means. And just give us kind of a framework for who you are and what you're doing with life, you know?
The Center for Inquiry is a few different things. It's a community center for non-believers. We are an advocacy organization for secular humanism and for skepticism. We investigate paranormal claims and extraordinary claims and alternative medicine and things like that. We push for church-state separation. We do all sorts of things. We promote critical thinking is probably the overall thing behind it.
And you circuit, you seminar, teach. I mean, it's something you've made it's a full career.
Yeah,
it's
we have workshops, we do conferences. We publish 2 magazines, Free Inquiry Magazine and Skeptical Inquirer Magazine, so we do lots of things.
You're the executive director.
Of the LA branch.
Of the LA branch, which means you're in charge.
Theoretically, yes.
Okay, good. That's good. Well, I have a lot of questions. I know you guys probably have texted in a lot, so let's get right to it. Lindsay, just start going through them, and if there's ones that make sense. What I don't want to have, and Jim, I'm sure you've heard this before, there are such a thing as dumb questions. I want to make sure, well, there are, you know, I'm sure you've heard those. I want to make sure we have questions that are intelligent.
Any question is sincere is not a dumb question.
Awesome. Well, here are the top 3 so far that we have. The first one is it hard as a leader, Jim, to rally people for something you believe doesn't exist?
Well, we don't really rally people. And first of all, let me say this. I'm an atheist. I'm a secular humanist. But people who are atheists and secular humanists have come at it from all sorts of different directions. So I do not speak for the whole world of atheism or secular humanism. There is much debate about the finer points of both. So let me do that as a qualifier. But we don't rally people around something that doesn't exist. We actually have a very positive set of beliefs. Secular humanism does. Atheism is just the lack of one belief. It's not believing in one thing. I am an atheist, but I don't like to be defined by one thing I don't believe in. Everybody here doesn't believe in something. Everybody here doesn't believe in some God. You don't want to be defined by the one Indian God you don't believe in. I don't like to be defined by one thing I don't believe in. So, but secular humanism, on the other hand, believes in lots of different things about equal human rights and education, support of the arts, and caring about your fellow human beings and lots of things. So that's a more positive thing, and that's a lot easier to get behind and get people excited about.
Can I jump in on a question? Is it okay if I throw in things as you're talking? I'm
Absolutely.
really and I really want to be kind. And I'm intrigued with, it does seem like the humanism aspect gives you a chance to orient, you know, maybe the lack of belief in a deity towards something proactive. When you build that moral compass or that objective off of humanity, where do you, I guess 2 questions. One would be, what would be the moral compass? Is it just humanity and kind of the conscience? And then number two would be, in that, when someone fails you, does the bar drop on what you expect for humanity? I mean, being that humanity without an objective deity, how does that work? I mean, just talk me through. It's just something that popped in my mind.
Okay, couple of different questions. Where do we get our morality? And the answer is from lots of different places. I think most secular humanists and non-believers would say that morality is at least partially innate. Like you find morality in certain animal groups, you find basic types of morality in virtually all human communities, no matter what their beliefs are, right? I mean, the Japanese are moral people, the non-believers are moral, the Africans are moral. All people sort of have some basic ideas. It's not rocket science not to tell lies, not to hurt each other, and to try to treat each other well. But we also try to, if someone does let us down, we try to have a full understanding of what drives human beings. We're mostly the same. Most of us in both communities, I'm sure you people too, we just want to live decent lives and work and be relatively safe and put food on the table. And most human beings are like that. But we also try to understand people in terms of the psychology of what drives people in a little bit more finer detail and understand it from that perspective as well.
That's good.
That's good. We have another question that just came in. It says, scientists are now saying something has caused the Big Bang. How does the atheist world, how are they dealing with this as what moved the universe from nothing into something?
It's an interesting question. The short answer is nobody knows how the universe started. But there are some interesting things happening in physics where in places where there is apparently nothing, like in a vacuum or so, no particles, no molecules, no nothing, there is still activity there. And I don't think we quite understand how this works, but apparently that's what we're observing. So things like the Large Hadron Collider in Europe and Fermilab outside of Chicago, these are scientific experiments meant to try to have a better understanding of things like what caused the universe to start.
Another question that just came in, what is the atheist view on life on other planets? Do you guys?
Most of the atheists I know think that there's probably life
I've heard
somewhere.
that. I'm going to interject. I've heard that. I've heard
Yeah.
that it's probably more believed, extraterrestrial life, from those who are atheists than theists, right?
Well,
Is that...
yeah, and let's qualify that because I just taught a class on how to fake a UFO photograph.
That's a pretty cool
A
class,
couple weeks
man.
ago. Yeah, it was cool.
Can you sign me up for that?
You're my first student next time. And turns out it is pretty easy to fake a UFO photo. It's apparently there, first of all, we've already found hundreds of other planets out there. And if the planet is the right distance from its star, chances are it might have similar conditions that would lend itself to creating life like on Earth. So have we found it yet? No. Are the prospects for finding it pretty exciting? Maybe even with our lifetime? Yeah, it's really cool.
When you said you go after paranormal claims,
Right.
I'm kind of lumping alien,
Yeah.
extraterrestrial life into that.
Yeah.
When you go after paranormal claims, if there's more, you can keep them coming. Grab them. What's that like to break down those issues? I mean, like I'm talking like Ghost Adventures and all that cool stuff on
Right.
Discovery Channel. Do you go after them?
Yeah, we do all that stuff. We have a group based at the Center for Inquiry, which is now in other cities, called the Independent Investigations Group. And we look into, there's one of us right there. We look into these claims. So everybody has seen psychics and mediums and things like this on television. You see these ghost hunter shows and UFO hunter shows and Bigfoot. So we go out there and we don't even necessarily go out to debunk these things, but we go out and we say, okay, what's the evidence? What's your evidence for believing in this? And we have a $50,000 prize for anyone who can prove paranormal ability. So they call us up and they say, I can transfer my thoughts into my friend's brain in the next room. And we say, cool, come on down. And we're going to put you in this room, and your friend's going to be in the other room, and we do a test and see if they can do it.
Oh, it's funny. Sometimes my wife expects me to pass.
Wow.
I'm like, wait, hold.
I know
okay,
my wife can read my mind sometimes.
You could help me on that one.
Not under test conditions, though.
If you guys have more questions, keep sending them. I'll keep asking. I've got a few. Now with science is kind of the, I want to say this with sensitivity. I mean, it feels like there is a big faith element in lack of belief. I mean, even in atheism, only because of, you have to believe in science and, some of the hypothetical reasonings. Is that true? I mean, there is an element of like, I trust that science is telling me the right thing in scientism, or?
Actually, no, I wouldn't agree with that, because the way science is structured is you don't have to believe anything anybody tells you. It's based on evidence, peer review, and testability. So if you don't think that all the continents interconnected at one point, and you think that that's something that science just made up or something, you can go out and find evidence that's contrary to that, and if you can present a better case, the science changes. It's based on the best evidence at the moment. So, no, it's testable, it's all challengeable, and some of the people who have done the most amazing work in science have challenged and overturned long-held beliefs.
That's good. Anything else?
From our viewers, and it's, is there any evidence in theology that has ever made you question your belief in atheism?
Well, atheism isn't a belief system. It's just one thing that I don't believe. I don't believe in tooth fairies. I don't believe in lots of things. Is there anything that's happened to me that's challenged my idea that there's no supernatural? No, not yet. But I have had weird, like, paranormal experiences. I was in bed one night, and had just dozed off to sleep, and I felt a hand.
This is a family show.
Yeah.
We're G-rated.
I was alone. I was alone at the time. And I felt a hand. What do you have in there anyway?
I'm good.
A little whiskey in there.
Oh, the things you don't know
off.
about Christians.
Yeah. You'd be surprised what I know. But anyway, this hand, so I felt this hand grab my leg, and I jumped out of bed, and I thought there was someone in the room with me. I turned the lights on, the door was locked, the windows were locked, and I was like, kind of, heart was pounding and stuff. So I had this real experience, and then I thought, and there was no one in there. And then I thought, no, there's a type of dreaming called hypnagogic dreaming, where you're just sort of in this gray area between dreaming and being awake. And I dreamt this hand grabbing my leg, but boy, it felt real. But I accepted that, and I thought it was actually pretty cool to have such a real feeling experience. So, when people tell me about their paranormal experiences or their religious experiences where, they felt God touch them or they felt an otherness in the room, I believe them. I don't challenge them. I don't think they're insincere when they have those experiences. I would have a different explanation for why they had the experience, but I certainly understand when people have those experiences.
And you just recently got married 4 years ago, right?
Was that recent? Yeah.
Well, I mean, kind of.
Feels like a long time. I'm just kidding, honey. I love you. You know I love you.
And she's here tonight, right? She's
She
here
is.
somewhere. Hi, thanks for coming. You're going to regret that. Or even right now, you're thinking, really? I've been on this stage many times, and I go, really? I know that feeling. Now, I was just, I just wanted to make sure we welcomed her, and it's really great that you came.
Yeah, do we have time for one more question?
Sure.
Okay, this one is from our online viewers, and it says, if your life isn't guided by a higher power, what is it guided by?
Secular humanists and skeptics, and we choose our purpose in life. We figure out what to do with ourselves. We think that this is the only life we have, and we have to make it count, so it's very important for us to try to make the best of it and do good things. So yeah, I don't know exactly what my purpose is, but I like to challenge people. I like to challenge myself. I've been wrong on occasion, and it's a wonderful pursuit that we do to try to shake people's ideas about themselves and their beliefs and see if they stand on solid ground. And I'd like to actually make one other comment, if I may.
Yeah.
You said something at the beginning in the introduction that's, that I would phrase in a different way. Speaking for myself again, but I think I speak for a lot of atheists and secular humanists, we don't really choose our position. We don't really make this conscious choice to say, I'm deciding not to believe in God. It sort of comes over us. I was a believer at one point, and I just, after a lot of questioning and a lot of inquisition, came to this conclusion and decided that there's not enough there for me to hang on to. So it's not something, it's like, you don't choose to believe that this cup is on here. It's a conclusion that you come to based on what you see and what you know. So
Is that, well, and you had mentioned, just a second ago too, in that line of thinking, is it, I don't want to be emotional or personal, I'm not trying to be, I really just hearing you talk. Is that, when you think through annihilationism and you had mentioned, if this is my one chance, I want to do everything I can, is that hard? Does that, I know maybe I'm not the toughest guy, and I would say I'm not. I'm pretty emotional and stuff. But like when sometimes when I lay my head on the pillow at night and I want to know, hey, I did well, or whatever. Is it hard to go to bed sometimes and think, if I go tomorrow, that's it? Or is there a piece of looking forward going, I'm glad to be done and off the earth? Or what does that bring out when you're by yourself,
Yeah, no, I'm not looking forward to it. I hope it's a long time before I die.
Yeah.
But I accept it. It's part of life. Everything, so far, everything that has ever been alive in the world has died, or we're pretty sure is going to die. It's one of the things people of not of faith have to deal with, and it's not the greatest feeling, but I accept it, and I hope to do some things during my life that will give my life some meaning and help me be remembered in one way or another after I go.
What do you think they'll put on the tombstone? I mean, if you had the legacy you wanted printed there, what would it say? I mean, I think we all sometimes think that. What's it say?
Oh boy. Let's see. Chicago Bear fan. Never saw the Cubs win a World Series.
Really?
That's what it's going to say.
That's right. Oh, that's great.
I don't know. I got to think about that. That was terrible. Don't put that on my tombstone if I die tonight. I was just kidding.
Well, it's just, if it's all leading there, there's that moment. So what was that you had mentioned to me? You've had experiences and family members who took your current belief system, and they've been okay with it. They've walked with you. They still loved you. And then you also told me you've had some people with bulging veins and getting real angry. Tell us both stories. What's the people in your life who've said, hey, I'm still with you, walking with you, journeying with you? What are the people who have kind of said, hey, I'm a little upset?
I'm really lucky. I was born into a family that's great loving relationships between our family members, and even the ones who are still religious, I have great relationships with them. I have friends who are clearly devoutly religious, and I have great relationships with them. And I'm thankful for their tolerance, and part of it's just the luck of the draw. So that's a great thing. Before I was married, I've been out on dates with women who, the second they found out I was an atheist, said, see you later, this is over. I can't even entertain the idea of this. I've been in places where you could just see a person's face sort of fall, especially if you use the A word with some people. It's kind of shocking,
What's the smooth term you use? Hey, baby, I'm a...
Well, I say...
Well, you laugh, but you all have them too.
Yeah.
See, it's the spiritual people that are like, hey, I'll be your chapter if you'll be my verse. You know. So I mean, they got theirs. So don't listen to them.
That's
Just
right.
give us what
So
you got, man. Just give us what you
people
got.
do it too.
Okay,
Yeah,
calm down now. I see people using it. Stop.
Yeah, we all know about the euphemisms. You know, I probably say, I'm not a big churchgoer. Incidentally, if church was like this when I was a kid, they probably would have got another year out of me. So the band was good. That was cool.
You gotta, in that note, before we get to the hard aspects of your experience, tell everyone, well actually we'll close with that. Go ahead. What are some of the harder experiences you've had with bulging veins and angry people?
Yeah, I mean, I've had people, you know, we get phone calls every now and then, we get letters every now and then, people telling me I'm going to hell and thinking that I'm evil because I don't believe in God. And I think I'm a nice guy. I'm good to people. I'm probably as moral and ethical as most of the people in this room. So I really don't like the assumption that because I don't share your religious beliefs that I'm somehow morally inferior to you. So that's a little bit objectionable. You know, I've accompanied people on debates and been in all sorts of situations where people are asking me why I hate God. I don't hate God. I don't think he's there. How could I hate something that's like hating Fred Flintstone or Homer Simpson or something? I mean, I hold no animosity toward deities. You know, it's not a part of our thinking. So I think people get the wrong idea about where our side comes from, and that makes me feel bad. I mean, to your credit, you know, you guys reached out to us, and you know, you made this effort to have some dialogue with people of a different persuasion. So I really think this helps all of us because, you know, most of us are Americans and decent people and everything, and we really share many more ideas and ideals than we differ. Yeah, thank you.
Before we close, I would love for you to share with everybody about your band. Because it's called The Heathens, right?
Yeah, The Heathens.
And I watched a YouTube video, which you know is very cute. And you guys wear a nice little. You got your white tucked-in shirts. You're looking really good. Yeah. And you know, give us kind of the background on that. Where did all that start? You know, and you've written some great parodies.
Yeah, well, I was in bands, and I'm from Chicago originally, and I was in a band with my cousin, who's the drummer for the Love and Spoonful. Yay, Love and Spoonful. Mike Arturi, give him a quick plug. Yeah, so I love music. I like to sing. We found out that we have some great musicians who come to the Center for Inquiry. One of them, Craig Ellis, is here tonight, but we have like professional level musicians, and I've been writing lyrics all my life, so I said, we have a winter solstice party every year in December, so I said, let's fire up this band again.
Is that what you do instead of Christmas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It took me a second there. That's
yeah,
good.
you stole that from us.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
It's another time, another topic.
It's not a debate, Tony. It's not a debate. Anyway, so we have a party on the winter solstice every year, and we decided, you know, let's have some fun. Let's have some music. So we wrote a bunch of songs, and we rehearsed a few times. We only rehearsed a few times in that video you saw. So we're actually working on tightening things up. And
well, I thought it was great. And yeah, the guy with the long hair, right?
Yeah,
he was
that's correct.
He was in there. Hey, great job, man.
Our musical director,
Awesome.
great guitar player right there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you walked in today and you said you wanted to have a gig here with us. You want a gig sometime?
Can the Heathens come here and play?
Also on the conversation for another time. Yeah. So, just joking.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
I'm just joking, man. Hey, well, I want to do this. I want to personally just say thank you. I want to say thank you for taking the time to come, for sharing with us, for having an open heart, and for being real. And I really, really, really hope that you know, you do feel loved when you're here, and I mean that. I hope you know that these people care about you, and we want to be friends. And for all you who sit next to someone you never seen before, make sure you share that same love with them.
It's felt very sincere. You guys are nice people. We're glad to be here, and I think everyone's had a real good experience. Thanks for having me.